We begin today with a terrifying scene in New York City as we learn new information about the gunman's potential motive. Around 6:30 p.m. last night, Monday, a lone gunman armed with an M4 rifle marched into 345 Park Avenue in Midtown Manhattan, a 44-floor skyscraper that houses the likes of the NFL, private equity behemoth Blackstone, the accounting firm KPMG, and the management company for the building, and went on the deadliest shooting spree the city has seen in the last 25 years. This is a picture for the listening audience we were seeing of the suspect walking in very calmly with, you've probably seen the picture by now, the rifle casually hanging down on his right side. He looks like he's going for a stroll. The shooter, and we do not name mass shooters here on the Megyn Kelly Show, killed 4 individuals, including a police officer, before turning the gun on himself. Another victim remains in critical condition. It is interesting to note that he killed himself with the long gun by shooting himself in the chest. And there had been some comments wondering last night, why, how? He had a revolver as well that was found in his BMW outside of the building, which, you know, not to put too fine a point on it, but would have been a far easier weapon with which to commit suicide. But we, I think, are getting some new information on why he did what he did, and I'll get to that in a second. The 27-year-old male suspect is from Las Vegas, originally born in Hawaii. He drove across the country directly to New York City to inflict his carnage. According to the police, the shooter's vehicle was seen in Colorado on Saturday, Nebraska and Iowa on Sunday, and then in Columbia, New Jersey at 4:24 p.m. Monday before entering New York City. And I'm sure our listeners in those places are wondering whether they encountered him and must be feeling some gratitude and relief that their cities were spared. It does appear he was targeting New York and this building for a reason. Here's the New York City Police Commissioner, Jessica Tisch, who, by the way, has received praise from left and right prior to this incident. She seems to be the one person we can feel good about in New York City government. She's describing here the harrowing scene of how the shooting unfolded. Watch.
Surveillance video shows a male exit a double-parked black BMW on Park Avenue between 51st and 52nd Streets, carrying an M4 rifle in his right hand. He walks towards the building's entrance. That individual was seen exiting the BMW alone. The building's security camera footage shows the shooter enter the lobby, turn right, and immediately open fire on an NYPD officer. He then shoots a woman who took cover behind a pillar and proceeds through the lobby, spraying it with gunfire. He makes his way to the elevator bank, where he shoots a security guard who was taking cover behind the security desk. One additional male is shot in the lobby, per his own statement from the hospital. The shooter then calls the elevator, which opens in the lobby. A female exits that elevator, and he allows her to walk past him unharmed. He goes up to the 33rd floor, which is route and management, and begins to walk the floor, firing rounds as he traveled. One person was struck and killed on that floor. He then proceeds down a hallway and shoots himself in the chest.
Take a look at your screen for our YouTube audience. You can see the dead shooter on the ground here, his final act of cowardice forever memorialized. For the listening audience, you see a typical office setting with a long runner, a white runner, it looks like, down in front of the desks, and the shooter lying horizontally across it. Another photo emerged of his weapon, smeared with blood. If you really zoom in, you can see it's got blood on the handle and among other places. And at first, this is so extraordinary. They don't normally release photos like this. We wondered if it was real, but it is. According to CNN, the shooter had no significant criminal background and had a concealed carry permit for a handgun, as well as an expired private investigator license in Nevada. Former NYPD on Fox News this morning was saying he had at least 2 mental health incidents that had been documented in Nevada, and also adding that his information was that this guy worked at security at a casino in Las Vegas. Again, that's from a former NYPD officer appearing on America's Newsroom this morning. The shooter was a competitive football player in his youth And Commissioner Tisch in New York said he had a, quote, documented mental health history without going into details. Again, our information now is that there were at least 2 incidents in Las Vegas that will absolutely lead to appropriate questions about why his gun license was not revoked. That's not a gun nut thing. You got 2 documented mental health incidents reportedly out in Las Vegas. You lose your concealed carry permit. You lose your permit to carry a gun. And I understand, we can't get them all, but if it's documented, if he's having interactions with officials, with authorities of any kind, something happened with the system, and we're going to have to figure out what. There was also reported this morning a 3-page note found on the gunman claiming that he suffered from the degenerative brain disease known as CTE from playing football. CNN reporting the note reads, quote, Terry Long, and that's a man I'll get into. He was a Pittsburgh Steeler who had CTE and died by suicide. But he writes, Terry Long, I guess there's supposed to be kind of a comment as though he's addressing it to him. Football gave me CTE, and it caused me to drink a gallon of antifreeze. That's also something Terry Long did. You can't go against the NFL. They'll squash you. Okay, so Long was a former offensive lineman for the Steelers and did commit suicide in 2005 by drinking antifreeze. The note went on to say, study my brain, please. I'm sorry. Tell Rick I'm sorry for everything. We don't know who Rick is. The New York Times reports investigators are focusing on whether the gunman was targeting the NFL, with Mayor Eric Adams saying this morning the shooter appears to have intended to go to the Football League's offices, but took the wrong elevator bank. I don't know how it is in your city, but in New York, you basically can't get into a building anymore without selecting like the floor. All the elevators and virtually all these high rises, and I've worked in plenty of them, require you to select whether you're going to like floor 1 through 15 or floor 16 through 30 or floors 31 through 44. And depending on which one you want, you get into a different elevator. And if you wanted floor 44, but you got into the first bank that services 1 through 15, you're screwed. That seems to be what Eric Adams is saying happened, suggesting that it is possible this shooter wanted to go to the floor that housed the NFL staff, but didn't press the right numbers. Went up to the 33rd floor, which is where the management company for the building was, and started shooting and did, in fact, shoot one person there. The NFL commissioner, Roger Goodell, says one NFL employee was, quote, seriously injured in the incident. We don't have all the details on where everyone was, but we know that most of the carnage happened in the lobby. We're also starting to learn more about the victims, including the NYPD officer who was on duty in uniform and was shot to death in the back. Here's Commissioner Tisch.
But today, 4 innocent victims are dead. Among them is NYPD police officer Didarul Islam, 36 years old, 4 years on the job. Officer Islam was married with 2 young boys, and his wife is pregnant with their 3rd child. He's assigned to the 4-7 precinct in the Bronx. He was doing the job that we asked him to do. He put himself in harm's way. He made the ultimate sacrifice, shot in cold blood, wearing a uniform that stood for the promise that he made to this city. He died as he lived, a hero.
Oh, God, so awful. 2 little boys and a 3rd baby on the way, his poor wife. Take a look at your screen now. This moving picture of Officer Islam's body removed from the building. Just absolutely heartbreaking. Beyond the loss of Officer Islam, Bloomberg reporting another victim is Wesley LePatner, the CEO of Blackstone Real Estate Income Trust. This is a woman. Bloomberg's Sonali Basak writes, quote, she was a rising star in a crown jewel of a business and was caught in the crossfire of an active shooter trying to reach the NFL. Can I tell you something? Do you know how hard it is to get hired by Blackstone for anyone, male or female? And then once there, to actually get promoted to run one of the large groups as a female, no less. She looks relatively young too. I mean, this person obviously was incredibly driven and accomplished and died yesterday. For what? For what? Clearly, she was one of the ones in the lobby. She was probably terrified as she saw this guy pull out that M4 rifle, point it at her, and shoot. We know at least one of the victims was trying to hide behind a pillar. Our understanding is they shot the cop who was there in uniform, which is allowed by the NYPD, especially with young cops. They let them do it because they need to supplement their income. So totally blessed by the NYPD, and it helps keep a building safe, ostensibly, because they're there in uniform. There was also a security guard. Both of them were shot. We know that only one of the people, 5 people were shot. One survived and is in the hospital now. We don't know who that is, but we know the cop was shot dead. A security guard was shot. We know one of the other victims was the woman I just showed you, Wesley from Blackstone. And then there are 2 more who were shot and killed. And we believe one of those was shot and killed on the 33rd floor, and the other one would have been shot and killed in the lobby. So we'll bring you updates on the other victims and their identities as we learn them. Since President Trump was sworn in, his administration has made enormous progress at a breakneck pace. But don't forget, while they are moving mountains for the good of the nation, you've got your personal savings to worry about. And one of the best ways to look after your savings is through diversification, particularly with gold, like from Birch Gold Group. In the past 12 months, the value of gold has increased by 40%. And Birch was an advertiser on this show 12 months ago. If you had purchased then, you'd be 40% richer today. Now's the time. Central banks continue to bolster demand for gold by burying in record quantities. Global instability and tension is high, and Birch Gold makes owning physical gold so easy. Easily convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in physical gold, or buy some to store in your home safe. Just text MK to the number 989898, and Birch Gold is going to send you a free info kit on gold. Look into it, see if it's right for you. There's no obligation, just useful information to help you make a decision. With an A+ rating, with a Better Business Bureau, and tens of thousands of happy customers, take control of your savings today. Text MK to 989898. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.